What's up, everybody? It's Mod Escher. The 1.9 update of Kerbal Space Program came out, so I decided now would be the best time to start the arduous process of updating my game. I play with a lot of mods, and I'm not really a big fan of the stock parts. The DLCs that I have are relatively painless to update because, they came with the game. But the mods themselves are always a pain in the ass. I have to wait for the developers to update the mods, and sometimes that can take months. So I usually don't bother updating my game for months at a time. And right off the bat, I ran into issues just getting OBS to even record my gameplay for this video. The frames just froze there, and the only thing that would move was the mouse pointer, and it was really annoying, but eventually I figured out a fix and I got it to work. I was forced to uninstall all of my atmospheric and environmental mods. I half expected Scatterer not to work, but I wasn't fully prepared for the amount of assery that I would have to deal with just to get this thing to the same state as my old version. So I had to update my strategy a little bit and just opted to get 1.8.1 to work before I even began to think about tackling 1.9. As soon as I got into the VAB, half of my ships had missing parts, and none of the parts would render properly. They were all misshapen, the sizes were wrong, because Tweak Scale was one of the mods that evidently needed to be updated. Surprisingly, procedural parts sort of worked, but because I use this a lot in my builds, I decided not to chance it. I decided to build a half-assed little test rocket to see how badly the mods were acting up, and if I could even launch a craft to begin with. It seemed to work okay for the most part. But I knew that I needed to do some work just to get this thing to a playable state. So I also noticed that some parts were missing once I installed a few other mods, and one of these parts just happened to be part of the DLC, but I didn't realize it at the time because, it was really late at night and I had no sleep. I did manage to get Tweak Scale to work finally, which was a relief. Then I went on to test my procedural fairings mod to make sure it wasn't acting up. I did encounter some weird shading anomalies on the tip of the nose cone, which I have no idea how to fix. So if you've had this problem with procedural fairings, please comment below if you know a way to fix it. I also encountered this error regarding a solar panel add-on, which is apparently part of Copernicus. Supposedly allows solar panels to track multiple stars if you have multiple stars in the mod. Since I don't have multiple stars, it doesn't seem to be causing any problems, so I just left it there, and I can still fly the ships, and the error disappears after I have clicked on them and saved them, so I'm guessing that it's not really that important to begin with. And yes, I did check to make sure panels still track the sun, which they do. Oh yeah, this is a new variation on my Vecra rocket that you're actually not supposed to see yet. It's top secret. So I'm pulling out my Balashka M rocket here, or as I've come to call it over the past dozen or so missions, Old Reliable. Because what better way to test how screwed your game is than by using a rocket that you know will actually fly. And the flight is actually quite loud here because I actually modded the Vernier engines in my stock version of the old game because I absolutely hated the noise that they made. So I set their volume to 0 and I just forgot to do it here. So I'm going to have to go back in and do that. But other than that, it seems to be flying just fine. Gets to orbit without a problem. So I'll chalk that up as a win. So the next step was to install my visual enhancement mods, like Copernicus, Scatterer, EVE, that sort of thing, add clouds to planets. As you can see, that it's the stock system, no extra planets. I also brought over a few other mods that I had in the old version, but when I did that, I encountered this annoying error where I could not click the start button. No matter how many times I clicked it, it would not start the game.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So once again, I had to go through my list of mods and find the mod that was screwing everything up again. And as it turned out, it was an outdated version of Spire Spitter, which I hadn't updated since 1.6. At first, I thought it was my Copernicus mod that was causing the problem, but as you can see, it updated just fine, and I can once again bask in the glory of the Outer Planets mod, and look forward to sending missions to Sarnis, Erlum, Nidion, and Plock. Not that I'm anywhere close to visiting those planets yet, but it's nice to have the option. And the last two mods that I updated were Scatterer and EVE. which you can see are functioning fairly normally. And I say fairly because unfortunately, I later realized that Scatterer causes my game to crash whenever I launch a rocket. I have no idea why. It worked fine in 1.73, so it's just a problem I'm going to have to try to fix. I did actually get pretty good at using the EVE mod, and I decided to play around with the cloud textures a bit and, just make things look a little bit more realistic without the need to use Scatterer. And as you can see in this descent into Eve's atmosphere, the planet does look a little more like Venus. But at the end of the day, I really hope I can figure out what's going on with Scatterer because I love that mod. It is one of the best visual enhancers out there. So I'll leave you now with this descent into Eve's thick, turbulent atmosphere. I hope you enjoyed my little rant about how much I hate updating mods. Don't forget to like and subscribe.